Hello friends, today's topic is deductions from salary. In this topic, we will be studying what amount can be deducted from the gross salary and what are the provisions under the income tax law related to deductions from salary. The deduction available under the head salary which are mentioned under Section 16 of the Income Tax Act. There are three types of deduction available to an employee. First is standard deduction, which is mentioned under Section 16 1A. Standard deduction is allowed up to 50,000 or amount of salary whichever is lower. Second deduction is professional tax, which is allowed up to 2,500, and the third deduction is related to the entertainment allowance, which is allowed as deduction to the government employees. On your screen, the income chargeable under the head salaries is computed after making the following deductions: standard deduction, entertainment allowance, professional tax. A standard deduction of rupees 40,000 or amount of salary whichever is lower is allowed as deduction with effect from financial year 1920. Deduction allowed is 50,000. So the limit has been changed from 40,000 to 50,000 with effect from financial year 1920. Entertainment allowance. Entertainment allowance received is fully taxable and is first to be included in the salary, and thereafter the following deduction is to be made only for government employee. So only for government employees, and as the word suggests, it's an allowance. So it will be first included under the head salary, and thereafter deduction will be available under section 16, and that too only to government employees. Deduction will be lower of 1/5 of the basic salary of the employee, 5,000, or entertainment allowance received. Again, 1/5 of the basic salary, 5,000, or entertainment allowance received, whichever is lower is the amount of deduction available under section 16. Amount actually spent by the employee towards entertainment out of the entertainment allowance received by him is not a relevant consideration at all. So expenses incurred out of the allowance received, it doesn't matter how much expenses you have incurred if you have received an allowance, and if you are a government employee, it will be allowed as deduction as per section 16(2). Professional tax. Professional tax on employment is something what an employee has to pay to the state government. So professional tax is a tax on the employment which is levied by the state as per Article 276 of the Constitution of India. So state has a power as per Article 276 to levy taxes on the employment on the employee. So the responsibility of the employer is, while paying salary to the employee, he is required to deduct professional tax on month basis and deposit it to the government. So it's in a way kind of tax deducted TDS, wherein the employee doesn't receive the amount, it is deducted before the salary is received by the employee. And the responsibility of payment to the government is the responsibility of the employer, but ultimately it is borne by the employee. There may be a situation wherein the professional tax is borne by the employer as well, wherein the ultimate liability is the employee. However, if employer takes the responsibility of bearing the tax, bearing the professional tax, then it will be a perquisite in the hands of the employee, and accordingly, where I will repeat it again, where the employer bears the professional tax on behalf of the employee, then it will be treated as perquisite in the hands of the employee, and it will be added to the salary of the employee, the amount of professional tax borne by the employer. So first it will be included as perquisite amount, and thereafter the employee will get a deduction under section 16(3). On your screen, professional tax or taxes on employment levied by a state under Article 276 of the Constitution of India is allowed as deduction only when it is actually paid by the employee during the previous year. So it should be actually paid for deduction under section 16. Professional tax payable shall not exceed 2,500 per annum. If professional tax is reimbursed or directly paid by the employer on behalf of the employee, the amount so paid is first included as salary income and then allowed as deduction under section 60. So this is what we were discussing earlier. Now the BAR Act section 16, the income chargeable under the head salaries shall be cut. Start again, start. Under the head salaries shall be computed after making the following deductions, namely a deduction of 40,000 rupees or the amount of salary whichever is less. Now it has been changed to 50,000 with effect from financial year 1920. A deduction in respect of any allowance in the nature of an entertainment allowance specifically granted by an employer to the SSC who is in receipt of a salary from the government. A sum equal to 1/5 of his salary exclusive of any allowance, exclusive of any benefit, or exclusive of any other perquisite. So it includes only the basic salary of the employee, or 5,000 rupees, whichever is less. A deduction of any sum paid by the SSC on account of a tax on employment within the meaning of clause 2 of Article 276 of the Constitution, leviable by or under any law for the time being. So this is deduction for the professional tax. 16(2) is nothing but an entertainment allowance deduction available to the government employee, and 1A is a send cut, start again, start, and 1A is a standard deduction available to the employee. So friends, this concludes the topic on deduction from gross salary, which is available to the employee under section 16 of the Income Tax Act. Thank you.